Hey, so welcome to today's master class. Today we're going to be talking with Pastor Jay, who about 2 months ago was able to get over 100 visitors in his first launch, utilizing social media ads. And so today we want to just kind of unpack a little bit with him and talk a little bit about some of his strategies and some of the things that he's done in order to be able to reach those, and even some of the strategies that he's thinking about as we move forward. So, first of all, Pastor Jay, thank you for jumping on and being with us
Absolutely.
today.
And
Yeah,
glad to be here. Glad to be here.
I'm glad we were able to get you on here. And one of the questions I kind of had was, well, before we jump in, why don't you kind of give us a quick recap? So you recently launched. I know you've been planning your launch for a while.
Right.
Talk to me about the process before you launched and some of the things you were doing just to recruit leaders and build a team.
Okay. Yeah. So we were originally supposed to launch in 2019. And of course, we all know the pandemic hit. We were actually supposed to launch October the 7th, 2019. I'll never forget the date because it's my mom's birthday. And it was that Sunday. And so we had to shut down, had everything planned out, ready to roll, even some of the team in place and all of that. And so we had to kind of just reshift and refocus. There's a message I'm going to preach called reshift, refocus, and remain. In other words, you shift, you refocus, and then you remain there consistently. And that's what it was for us. Uh, the pandemic brought a lot of different variables that we weren't necessarily prepared for. Of course, a lot of churches weren't. But even as a church plant, with logistics as far as the buildings and things of that nature, the costs literally just skyrocketed. And so, even it made sense not to start physically in person. And so what we did was we actually launched virtually. And so I used social media, used Facebook ads as well to really build our team leading into we said, okay, this year we're going to make sure we do our in-person launch in September. And so we literally used Facebook ads to build our complete team. And so we launched with our team. We had about 15 people on our team. But literally all of those individuals came from Facebook ads. I mean, we literally would have people tell their testimonies in the launch meetings about how they had been praying, and God literally wakes them up at 3:30 in the morning, and they see our ad, right? And, stuff you just cannot make up, right?
Yeah.
That okay, it has to be the hand of God that's really orchestrating everything. And so we were able to utilize that with retargeting and doing some of the other things, of course, with social media, our own platforms and all that, to really build up the actual launch, and the visitors for the launch. And of course, you have your friends and family, but even outside of that, we were able to bring in people from the community or what have you. And it was really beneficial for us.
So if you don't mind, if we get a little granular,
Sure.
one of the things that I'm always interested in when it comes to running ads, I understand the technical side of running the ads,
Hmm.
but I always find that when an ad doesn't hit, it usually has more to do with the messaging
Hmm.
than it has to do with the technical side. So what was your messaging to people
Correct.
who when you were trying to build this launch team? Like what was the thought process behind the ad? And then describe the ad itself to us.
Yeah. So our messaging was really about I kind of describe it. One of our mentors in the marketing arena is this guy named by the name of Russell Brunson, and he always talks about the new opportunity or a new ocean, right? And so being able to even apply that to our Christian faith and our church. And saying, hey, this is a new opportunity for those that are looking for something different, looking for something new. We're not a traditional church, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we portrayed that even in our ad copy and things. We wanted to make sure that we do that. And so the way the way that you make sure that you're reaching the right audience and that those ads are hitting is you can't just do one ad, right? You can't just do one type of ad copy. You have to do several different iterations of that ad. And then once you find that particular ad that's working, then you put your money behind that and really grow that up. Interesting thing for us, over the years, because I do this as a business as well. So over the years, we've always, and I'm sure you know this as well, that video always pretty much outperforms photos or what have you. And but the interesting thing for us with our even with we were building our launch meeting ads, our interest meeting ads, as well as our church ads, invite ads, the photo of my family with our family dog outperformed everything. I mean, lights out. And I'm like, people love that photo. And so I'm going to use it from now on. I mean, I'm not, it's probably going to be a no campaign. I don't use that actual photo, of our family and the dog or what have you, because everybody, even when they were coming to the launch meetings, they were asking for Kingston, you know. So it's like, hey, where's your dog at? Where's your dog at? That type of thing. But that's also a part of having an ad that actually lands, right? That stops the scroll is because it's personable. Many times we want to be polished, and we want things to be perfect. But the reality of it all is people are attracted to imperfectness, right? They're attracted to those that they can relate to. And so people can relate to, somebody having a dog or what have you, the dog lovers or animal lovers. They can relate to that. It's like, okay, this pastor's real cool. You know what I mean? And it just he's a part of our family. Matter of fact, he's sitting right here laying down
I saw
in
him. I
the
saw him
floor.
hanging. Yeah, I saw him
Yeah.
hanging behind you earlier. He was
Yeah.
making a cameo.
Right, right. And so that was always something important to my wife and I in our actual church plant was that we show people, that we're transparent. We're no different than you are. God has just called us to shepherd this house. But this is our ministry. This is not just my church or your church. This is God's church, but it's our ministry together. And we're a family. We're a community of believers. So that's what we wanted to really portray in that. And one of the great things now, because I know a lot of people are not master copywriters like you and I per se, you know what I mean? Because we've been doing it so long and all this. But there's so many great tools out there now so if you can't think of things, you can actually feed even like Chat GPT or Magi, you can feed that and say, okay, this is what I want our ads to really display, right? And give you information about your church and what your core values and things are. It'll spit out great, great, great ad copy for you. And so even I did our initial ads, just from basically that I wanted to test that against some of the AI. And man, I'm telling you, it's just amazing to me how you can really shortcut the process. And it makes it easy for even the pastor that doesn't necessarily have a lot of the technical side or even the copywriting side, to say, okay, just feed it this information. You know what your vision is, you know what your mission and goals are, you know what your core values are. Give that to ChatGPT and allow it to actually craft the perfect ad for you.
Yeah. So let me just recap a couple of things just to make sure it stands out for people. Number
Mhm.
one, when you're starting to run ads, you mentioned the importance of testing, especially in the very beginning, because you're
Okay.
you're really just putting out messages and trying to see what hits,
Right.
right? And the second thing you mentioned is all your ads should be personable. And it's interesting because I say this to pastors all the time. People connect with people, they don't connect with buildings, they don't
Right.
connect with organizations, right?
Absolutely.
I see all the time. So, for example, an example of that is I'm working with a ministry and we were just working on their follow-up emails, and the
Hmm.
signature was Connect Team. And I said, who's the Connect Team? Oh, it's this person, this person. Put somebody's name in there, right? Put Maria, put David. Don't put Connect Team
Hmm.
because it's more personable. It feels like you're connecting with a person.
Right.
And then the other shortcut you mentioned was running some of this stuff through Chat GBT or Magi, any kind of an AI platform, just to even test your current ads. And one of the
Right.
things I love with Magi is not only can you use it for your ads, but you can also use it to give you scripts. So if you're going to do a video, you
Right.
actually have them create the script for you. So
Hmm.
how long did you test your first ad for? Was it a week? Was it 10 days? What was that length of time that you felt like, all right, now I know that this is a winner?
Right. So that first ad, it was about a week and a half. Because usually, again, because I've been doing it so long, I can pretty much dial an ad in within a week or two.
Mhm.
But that was about a week and a half. Then we realized, and like I said, with our campaigns, it was kind of like a no-brainer because it stood out, as far as what copy it was,
Right.
and then of course the photo, right? Even though we still kept the video in there, but the photo, I was like, okay, the click-through rate, the whole nine was like, the conversion rate was like, okay, through the roof, just with the photo based off, difference of the video and photo, and so, but usually. Even when I have a new client that comes in, I'll always tell them at least 2 to 3 weeks of testing, because and it depends on, like, for instance, I didn't do as many copies of ad that I would normally do, so we normally would do 15 to 20 different copies, right? For us, I think I did maybe 5 to 7 different copies, right? And so it was able to flush out a lot quicker and
Mm.
everything. And we'll be even do some more testing. One thing about running ads, testing, you can always make your ad better, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, because you have a lot of different variables that, depend on, for instance, like now ad costs a little bit higher because the elections and things. And so,
Well,
the
I
ad
mean,
spots,
yeah, between that Black Friday,
Black Friday, right? This time of year, it's going
the
to
time
get
of
more
year it goes
expensive to
up.
run ads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just understanding, different things like that. And that's why it's important to kind of have that and say, okay, this is a part of my marketing plan, right? Oftentimes people, they say, well, they want to do it one time, and then if it doesn't work per se, they feel like it doesn't work. No, that's not true. Marketing is something that you got to continually do,
Yeah.
right? And then you see the outcome over a period of time,
Yeah.
because it takes several touch points before somebody even recognizes who you are, right? And so even with our ads, for our interest meetings and all that, one of our she's really one of our pillars of our church now, and she was like, so we're gonna do the ads and stuff for the invites and all. I said, absolutely. I said, I just wanted to make sure we got familiar with the environment that we're in and all that type stuff. I said, and then I'm gonna run it. She said, yeah, because when you was running them interest meeting ads, I saw that thing all the time. Right? So she saw it everywhere when she was on Facebook, whenever,
Yeah.
when she was off Facebook, she saw those ads and things. And so we were prevalent in her mind. And so it was a reminder of, okay, this is Numa Life Church. They're launching. You want to be a part of the launch team. And that's pretty much essentially what we did.
Now you mentioned a couple of things. And we'll get a little technical for this, and then we'll
Okay.
kind of go back to the 10,000 foot view. So
Okay.
so when you're looking at an ad and you're saying, "Hey, is this ad successful?" You mentioned click-through rate. What are
Hmm.
the other what are the other fields that you're looking for, or that helps you know if this ad is actually working?
Right. And
Let
so,
me, let me, I'm sorry, let me just preface this question. Let me contextualize it by saying that there are times that I'll run an ad and I
mhm,
and I see that the outcome isn't what I want it to be. But then when I look at the numbers, I see that my numbers are actually much better than I thought it was. And it's typically a tweak or two or something I did. Like
right,
I ran an ad recently and realized, wait, I'm asking for the phone. I was asking for a name, email, and phone number. The
right.
moment I took the phone number out, all of a sudden it worked,
Converted. Yeah.
right? So the ad itself wasn't the problem. It was something
Right.
else outside of the ad. But when I looked at the numbers told me that. So for you, what
Mhm.
specific numbers do you look for that help you determine this ad is working or has the potential to work?
Right. So definitely the click-through rate and really the unique link clicks. Because sometimes people will, they'll click multiple times on the ad and all this stuff. And that'll let me know, like for instance, one of the actual objectives is landing page views.
Mhm.
And so that's actually one that we actually used for our invite ads. And so that lets me know how many people are going to the actual landing page. And then when they got there, based on the conversion rate, that'll let me know, okay, what do I need to change on the landing page? Right. So I already know if the click-through rate, say for instance, if you get an average click-through rate of 1.5 or 2%, right, which is
Yeah.
considered to be, pretty high in the industry, right? If you're getting that 2 to 3%, you're doing gangbusters, fields,
Yeah.
right? And so if they're not converting by the time they get to your landing page, then that lets you know there's something wrong with your landing page.
Yeah.
Some reason, and it could be said that you too many fields because the more they have to fill out, the less the less likely they are to convert, right? Or to put in that information. Another thing too that will definitely move the needle for you many times in those situations is like when we're talking about the actual form, right? Many
Mhm.
people they'll list all of the actual form fields there, right, for them to see. So, name, email, phone number.
Yeah.
But what we find that converts better is doing what we call a multi-step form. So
Mhm.
you ask for the name first, they click next, then you ask for the actual email, click next, then the phone number, and that converts better because it's not overwhelming to them, and so they're like,
Right.
okay, let me get
Yeah.
to the end, that type of thing as well. But just little things like that, like you said, can be the difference. And it just comes over time or having somebody experienced to actually look at your ads and say, okay, you have a great ad, right? Then if the click-through rate is good, that means that people are stopping their scroll, right? So the ad is exciting or it's at least piquing their interest.
Yeah.
And they're clicking on the ad to go to your next step. But when you get to the next step, if they're not converting, then there's something wrong with that page. Either the page is not, and this is a biggie too. We find with a lot of people, the page may not be mobile friendly. Where when you look at it, 85% of your traffic, sometimes a whole lot higher than that, is going to come from mobile devices, whether that's a cell phone, iPad, Android tablet, whatever the case may be. And so if your site is not mobile friendly,
Yep.
now that's another issue, right? And so that's a little of the technical things that you kind of got to look out for. But usually, if that click-through rate is good, then that lets me know, okay, I got a good ad. And if the conversion rate is not up to par, then I know, okay, it's between my landing page, from the time they get to my landing page, from to the time that I want them to take
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Another thing too, even speaking in that regard, that happens a lot is have the actions on that page. Right? I mean, so they don't know what to do. They don't know what you want them to do. And so you want to always have one call to action, whether
Mhm.
that's a PYV plan your visit, whether that's, a registration for an event, whether that's an action to give a donation. You want to drive them even from the ad copy, the presentation of your ad on Facebook, all the way to your landing page. You want it to be congruent
Yep.
and so cohesive. So that way, they don't come and see one thing here and then they get to the landing page and then they're caught off
Yeah.
guard because you're offering something totally different,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 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 And listen, I remember running some ads at least a year or two ago and not realizing
hmm
this was when I utilized ClickFunnels for a landing page and not realizing that it looked one way on the browser, but when I pulled it up on my phone, it was all blown up. The links were going to different pages. And I was
hmm
just like, what in the
hmm
world? And not realize that there was a feature in ClickFunnels that when you clicked it, right? So you can actually change the way the page looked
change
on
it.
the desktop version, but you had to actually change it. You had to click
Right.
a button to change it the way it would look on the mobile version. And obviously,
Oh, right.
you spend money and then you realize, oh my gosh, I just made this huge mistake, doing it. Uh,
Right. Costly mistake.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah. So you ran these ads obviously, and you got
hmm
about 15 people who joined the team. Um, so the
hmm
ad did what? Was it a ad that led to a messenger you meant and you to a message back and forth? You also
So
messaged
this,
targeting. What was the retargeting look like? What was that ad towards those teams to recruit the teams?
sure. So right. So the ad for the interest team or interest meetings was an ad to our one of our interest socials. So it was more of like an invite. So the general ad talked about, being a part of something new, that type of thing. And then when they got to the landing page, it talked about that and it asked them to register for the actual next interest meeting. And so we had that set up. We had that in Texan church. And so we had that set up. when they actually register, then of course they'll automatically get what we call the indoctrination series. And so really that's the point of, once we've got them signed up, now we're going to really tell them about what the ministry is all about, what the church stands for, our core values, the things that we entrust, what we're founded on, that type of thing. And so we had a series of I think it was about 5 emails
Mm.
that would automatically go out based on when they registered. So we would have one go out immediately, then one maybe 2 days later, and that type of thing. And again, that it's all about these touch points, right? And
Mhm.
getting them to understand, okay, who Numa Life Church is. And so it makes it easier to convert them versus like being cold, if you will. They
Yeah.
become warm. You're warming them up, and they're getting to know who myself and my wife are, and the other team members and things of that nature. And so we had that, and then once they did that, of course, we had the reminders, because they have this saying, the fortune's in the follow-up. And that's the absolute truth for church as well. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Many times we miss the reason is not that we don't have good churches and we don't have good church going on, we don't have great teaching and all that, is that we don't follow up with those that come into our buildings or
Yep.
have been, invited and stuff like that. And so we make sure that we have that follow-up process in place as well. And I remember my wife was like, "Well, how long do we follow up?" I said, "Well, until they tell us to stop."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Until they tell us to stop, we continue to follow up with them, whether that's a 30, 60, 90 day series, just to let them know that, hey, we're still thinking about you. We're still here if you need us, and that type of thing as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. One of the things that I've been instituting with some follow-up, especially more with first-time guests, is
Hmm.
we'll hit it hard for about 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 2 to 3 touches throughout the week for about 3 to 4 weeks. If they haven't responded to a meet and greet or next step, then we move them into what we call long-term follow-up, where
Right,
it's something maybe once or twice a month of an invite to a major event, typically a
right,
video text. So when we move them to long term, I kind of pull away from emails, just because emails has a lower open rate.
right.
Maybe, 20 on the high end, maybe you're seeing 30% open rate.
Hmm.
Text message, you'll see more like 90, 95% open
Right,
rate. And then if you add a video to it, so just they're seeing you, they hear your tone. And so we've moved to that kind of follow-up where it's once, maybe twice a month, inviting them to some sort of special event. And when I say special event, all I mean is give your service a theme, right? You
right.
don't have to do anything
Mhm.
crazy. Just, hey, if your sermon is on love, man, this Sunday is Love Sunday, or I
Hmm.
was come up with a better title, right? Run that into Chat GPT, let them give
Right, right.
some better ideas on what to call it. But it's the idea of giving a specific reason for people to come to your church versus
Hmm.
just assuming that they want to come to church. Because are not most people are not in the habit of coming to church on a regular basis. So
Hmm.
there's so much opposition and difficulty when it comes to waking up in the morning and getting the kids ready. And so you've got to
Right.
give them something to move forward. All right. So
Absolutely.
we talked a bit about this, but before we move into the second, because you ran a different ad to invite people that were going to come to the launch, right?
Correct. Hmm.
So you mentioned earlier, you made a statement about the need to keep marketing. One of the
Hmm.
challenges that I find with pastors, I've wrestled with this, is that sometimes when it comes to this, because it's ministry and it's spiritual matters, the word
Hmm.
marketing at times has a negative connotation.
Right. It does.
Walk me through what you had to, what was your process for helping you get past that, so that way you can do this effectively.
Hmm.
Because obviously, marketing at times is like a no-no word.
Right. And for me, I guess it came more naturally because that's what I do as a career field as well. But what I've found is really bringing it from a biblical standpoint when I deal with pastors and everything, I said, you do realize Jesus had a marketing team. You do realize that they actually marketed,
Mhm.
right? The disciples and the apostles were his marketing team. They went out and spread the word that Jesus was performing these
Yeah.
miracles. And
Yep.
so these thousands of people came in droves to see Jesus perform these miracles. That was his marketing team.
Yep.
And so I think what happens is when you parallel things with the word of God, then a lot of pastors that may be kind of caught up, they'll see that, right? And then what we got to understand is that we as believers, we understand that we have to change our methods, but we don't change our message,
Yeah.
right? And so even when you look at Jesus and how he dealt with people, he didn't deal with everybody the same way. He had a different method of dealing with certain ones. He dealt with all of their needs, even many times before he even dealt with their soul, or their salvation, or the gospel, right? And so we have to learn to do the same thing. I was sharing the other day, again, as a marketer, I've been trying to get churches online and do online streaming and all this for years, right? I mean, even pre-pandemic for years. And I used to hear all the time, well, that's the devil's tool. We don't want to use that and all this. And I always made a joke. I did a seminar for one of the church organizations here, and I made a joke. I said, "Isn't it interesting that all of those preachers, all of those pastors that told me that that's the devil's tool. We don't want to be associated with that and all that. They had to use Facebook in order to even have church during the pandemic,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so I said that to say this: these tools are here for us to spread the gospel. Just as with anything, the intent behind the usage of the tool is what matters, right? And so if we have technology, if we have these free resources, Facebook is free. Of course, Facebook ads you have to pay for it, but
Yeah.
posting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of these platforms are free to use. And
Yeah.
so why not use them to spread the gospel? Why not use them to spread the word about your church, about your ministry, especially when people are looking? And so I think that's essential. And so for me, it was a little different. But again, I help pastors kind of get over that, and say, hey, look at how Jesus, he was an ultimate marketer to me, right? He was just an ultimate marketer. And so when you study how he dealt with people, how he dealt with the disciples and apostles, and how he charged them and commanded them to do certain things to spread the gospel, then we can do the same thing today. One of the last things I'll say this, and it kind of brings it home for a lot of pastors as well, especially those that may be like have come over, on the more traditional side and all this. I said, well, I don't see you reading, the Bible on papyrus paper, right? I don't see you reading on a scroll, right?
Yeah.
We've updated, we've moved. And so as technology advances, because guess what? It's not going to stop. It's going to continue to advance. We use it responsibly, and with accountability and to help grow our ministries.
Why do you think, I know this has nothing to do with ads, but
Hmm.
hearing you talk, I just have to ask this question.
Hmm.
Why do you think it's so hard for churches, ministers, pastors to remain current? Like it just feels like in order for them to keep up, whether it's technology or certain things, it takes so much effort to get them there to the point where, it wasn't until COVID to a catastrophic event that forced
Right,
churches to go online when the
right.
opportunity to go online was there all along. And what I've seen was that churches that were online before COVID typically were subject to criticism by other churches. Why do you think
Mhm.
that's the case? I know this is more of a philosophical question, um, but maybe it'll help us get past
Right.
certain mental hurdles.
Right. And honestly, I think it's really more of a traditional mindset. You just have some pastors that are just comfortable,
Mm,
and even outside of pastors, just people in general, they don't like change, and
yeah.
so having to adapt, having to adjust, having to shift. When I've been doing it this way for 25, 30, 50 years, and now there's a new way to do it. a new way for me to reach people. But the reality is, if you don't shift, you're gonna get left behind, right? The way that we do things previously, especially now, you have the older generation that's passing away. You have the older generation that's leaving us, and they're not passing the baton,
Yeah.
right? Because they refuse to accept technology for where it is. Guess what? If you're an older pastor, find somebody that loves to be on social media, right? And
Right.
um, arm them and empower them to help you grow the ministry through that. To help you get online and give them that task. You give them that responsibility. And so there's ways to do it. You just have to be willing to say, you know what? However, God wants to move, through our ministry, however he wants to move through technology, let's grab hold of that and move forward.
Yeah. No, I love it. It honestly, it makes me think of my youngest son. He does not do well with
Mhm.
change. And so he's going to graduate this year from elementary school, and he's already telling his mom, my wife, that he doesn't want to go to middle school.
Mhm.
I'm like, buddy, ready or not, it's coming. But change for some people is very difficult, and as a result, what happens is we don't
It is.
prepare it, and then change comes, and now it's shock and awe, and we are trying to respond to something that we had time to. So let's
Mhm.
jump into so you ran a second ad that was geared
Mhm.
towards reaching the community, getting people to show up for your launch Sunday. What
Mhm.
was that ad? What did you run? What was the message? What did you say on it?
Yep. So that messaging in that ad was basically new church coming to Greensboro. Type of messaging. And we made it real personable. I think on one of them I was like, "What's up, Greensboro?" That type thing. Use some emojis and all that. And matter of fact, I could pull up some of the ad copy if you like, and
Absolutely, you can share.
kind of
Go
show
for it.
them some ads. Yeah, show you some of the stuff that we did. Um, Let me see if it's
You should be able to share your screen. I think I turned it on.
okay. Awesome. Let me do that now.
By the way, while he's doing that, if there's any other questions that you'd like us to just talk about regarding to ads in the chat, you can just drop it in. And then, as I mentioned, in a couple of minutes, we'll also open it up for everyone to ask questions.
Yeah, I have questions. I'll wait till you open it up.
Okay.
But go for it. Let me see the ad.
Yep. So this is one of the ads we did here. Matter of fact, let me see if y'all can hear that.
A Numa Life Church, a new life-giving church that's lunch.
Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Are y'all able to hear that audio?
Sir,
Okay.
What's going on? This is Pastor Jay. This is my lovely wife, Lori. Yeah. We are the lead pastors at Numa Life Church, a new life-giving church that's launching Saturday, September the 21st at 10:30 a.m. Listen, we want to invite you, but we need for you to do us a favor. We need for you to plan your visit. That's right. Click the link below, visit our website, and let us know that you're coming, that you're going to be a part of this great celebration. Listen, we look forward to seeing you there, but make sure you plan your visit. We'll see you soon.
so let me ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
What was your targeting for this ad?
So we left the targeting wide open, right? Because what we find is, especially with churches, now of course you have certain events where you want to do the demographic targeting, right? But what we find is, especially here in Greensboro, our overall population is only about 350,000.
Mm.
And so what we do is we leave it open, and so that way we can get a good, targeting, what have you. And so 18. I think I did 18 to 65. No, I did 18 to 55. I think that's what I did. That's the only thing I did targeting. 18 to 55, male, female, all, left for all races. And then we did a 15 to 20 mile radius, what
Okay.
have you. Because studies show that most people that go attend your church, they're not going to travel more than 15 miles, to come to your church or what have you. And so That was what our actual targeting was. And you see this one, and this is one of the videos.
Mm.
And so this one, got 4 shares. But when I show you some of the other stuff, you'll see that, okay, like the pictures and all that got like 12, 20 something shares or what have you. And so it just becomes viral,
Yeah,
with, and people start commenting, congratulating you. Even people in the city, other pastors and stuff were commenting and congratulating us
nice.
on, the different things or what have you. And so that was that one.
Can I ask a question right here?
Sure.
Um, is that on your Facebook page? Did you put it up on your Facebook page and then also run ads to it?
Yeah, so you can do it that way. Like if you have a business page. Now to run Facebook ads, you have to have a business page, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And so if you got the business page, which most of your church pages should be your business pages, as long as you have that, then you can run the ads. And so you can actually create this ad as a post and
Hmm.
then run it. But I always tell people the best way to run Facebook ads is through what we call the ads manager because
Right. But
then you have more, right, you have more flexibility with that. And so these ads I actually created in the actual ads manager. I could show you that right quick.
then did you put them on your Facebook page? That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
so they'll show up on so they won't necessarily show up on your Facebook page unless you want them to, right? So if you create it as a post on your Facebook page and then you come back here in the back end and say, okay, I want to actually use this as the actual ad, then
Mhm.
it'll show on your Facebook page. But the great thing about using the ads manager and even just running ads, period, is you don't have to inundate your own pages with all of the different ads.
Could
You know
you
what I
could
mean?
you could you jump out of sharing and then come and then just share that the because you're sharing your entire screen
Oh, okay. Let me see.
and then just kind of share yeah, just select that specific window.
Oh, okay. I thought I had did it. Let me see. Make sure it's sharing now.
There you go. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay. Cool. Cool. There we go. Ooh.
So you said you only did the only targeting you did was you minimized the age range and then you did um you just did the zip code.
Correct. And so, like, if I come down here to targeting, so I just did Greensboro, North Carolina, plus 15 miles, and I did do 18 to 65. So I did 18 to 65, all genders.
Mhm.
It's in no other demographics, so no like detailed targeting or anything like that. Now,
Yeah.
if I was, say, for instance, if this was an ad for our youth ministry, or if this was like a fall festival type thing, and I wanted to target parents with kids or something like that, then I can come in here and kind of get granular and
Yeah.
all of that. But when you're doing your church invites, you want to invite the entire city. You know what I mean? And so you want to keep it open. And we found that's what's works best, you know. Of course you'll get some knuckleheads every now and then. We've had some people that was like, "Oh, you are just about money and all this stuff." You know how it is. They already
Yeah.
feel about churches or what have you on the ads, and you just, I responded to one guy and literally I got somebody that came to one of the launch meetings because of how I responded to him.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Love
I
that.
take those opportunities as opportunities to win them over. That's
That's
how I look
great.
at it.
No,
Yeah.
that's great because I think sometimes I remember a couple years ago I was running ads to a webinar.
Hmm.
You get some people who are just the whole you're all about the money and you're gonna sell something
Right.
and all this, that, and the third. And in the beginning, I used to just delete all those comments and then
Hmm.
realize that one of the best ways to convince people that you're authentic is by answering those things,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yep.
So, and obviously, look, just don't go crazy because sometimes I've had some ads where it's almost like I average one or two of those things a day, and you'll spend most of your time answering
Answer. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it, you know,
yeah.
answering negative comments. So, that's the only
And
catch with that.
and here's the one. So this is the one with my family and the dog.
Yeah.
Y'all can see that. And so you see even the this is one for the church. Your new church community awaits. worried
Mm.
about feeling out of place, don't be. We make your first visit special. Super convenient reserve parking and warm greeting just for you. Connected with our community. Enjoy preferred seating. Meet Pastor Jay and Lady T. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And
Mm.
so we have some stuff that was kind of boom, direct to the point. Then we had some other stuff that was kind of, a little bit longer, copy or what have you. But that's,
Which one would you say was the winning ad for this? What was the one that?
for this one, it was definitely, let me pull it up. It was definitely, yep, it was definitely this one right here. The ad copy with the with me and Lady T had 351 clicks. See how the
Mm.
reach went? 6,439. And the crazy thing about the church invite was that we actually lost time, if you will, in
Yeah.
everything because I wanted to start them a month in advance, and I
Yeah.
really only started them about 2 weeks out in
Mm.
everything. Because of some other things that came up with the building, and so it was like, it was more cost effective, or I had to kind of work my way with the budget and all that stuff. But the great thing about it is, and Pastor Ariel, you know this, it doesn't take a lot to start.
Yeah.
I've saw when I first started doing Facebook ads for the church, we started with $5 a day,
Yep. Yep.
and we were seeing results come in, and so it's really about just having that stuff dialed in or what have you. And so
Yeah.
for the invite, we only spent, $126. I really wanted to spend 1,000, to really push it and everything.
Yeah.
But we just had a lot of stuff come up at the last minute with, the venue and having to get the pipe and drape and additional chairs and all that type of stuff. So
But for $126, you were having 20 cents clicks.
right, exactly. Which you
I mean,
can't really beat with a stick. You know what I mean?
oh,
Especially around this time of the year. And so
yeah, that's fantastic.
yeah,
Can I ask another question?
sure, absolutely.
Um, because a lot of my questions are here. You have ad copies, and I see that you have one ad set, and you have, I don't know, I don't know how many different
Oh, and the
ads
other,
that you have under that one ad set. Now,
right.
in your testing process,
Hmm.
did you have uh whatever, five different graphics, but the same ad copy, or did all the different ads were all different?
Good question. So usually I'll have like one or two different ad copies that I wanted to go by. Let me check on this one. I think I just had, yeah, so I just had the one, but they were different ad copies, right? So I had this one, which was more of the longer, long form ad.
Mhm.
Okay.
Then I had this one. I think that was the same. Let me see. The family one was the one I did the short form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, that one, the family one, and
Yeah.
this one here, yeah, the other video.
So each one had a different graphic as well as a different ad copy. Is that
Right.
correct?
So yep. So generally, what I do is, and because I already had did the testing right from our interest meeting, our interest meeting ad already knew pretty much what picture is going to convert, right, and what kind of video style, and so that's why I was able to say, okay, I could just use the same copy for here because I already knew this picture is going to convert,
Mhm.
right? And so all the information that they need for the actual church launch and all that, that was actually on this page right here. This was
Mhm.
our landing page. So it talked about the church launch. And see, everything is driving them to the launch, right? Everything. The only thing they can do here, they can't go to any other page on our website. There's no links up here, anything like that. All they can do is just read this information about, what to expect at the actual launch, service times, location, and then we talked a little bit more, and this is all indoctrination. And so then we also have that actual video here
Okay.
on the page as well.
Yep.
Um, and then so we're pushing them to plan your visit. And then once they go to plan your visit, they can, plan their visit. And we have it set up where they go step by step, multi-step
Yep.
on the plan your visit or what have you.
Yeah. This was This was fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, just going back to your ad, what was the campaign? Was it just what was the campaign
The
for?
objective?
For the launch,
Yeah,
this was a land. I think I did landing pages.
landing
Landing
page.
page. Yeah.
Did you ever do any lead generation ads?
I have not. So you mean as far as
The objective being the
Fa
lead
yeah, the
generation.
Facebook lead gen? I
Right.
have not, because normally when if I do that, if I do that, what I'll do is I'll do a lead gen form using
Yeah,
Facebook.
right.
But I am looking at doing that. The only reason I did do that is because we already had our text and church integrated with the landing page and all that. But that
Mhm.
was something I thought about even after the fact, is testing that out and see how. And we're also going to be doing Messenger ads as well, right?
Mhm.
And so, like when they click on the ad, we pop up in Messenger, and we have that kind of built out to kind of interact with them and engage with them as well. And so that's something I'm actually looking at testing now too. It's probably like the first quarter of next year is
Yeah,
really testing out the.
I'm running some ads for a church in the next couple of weeks. We should have it up and running, and
Okay.
we'll be using the lead gen
Yep, Legion.
form. The only
Mhm.
challenge we're having right now is that they use, is it CCB or
Oh, okay. Community church builder.
yes, I don't know why I wanted to say BBC, but that's
Yeah.
the the news station. Yeah, so we're just trying to figure out how do we go from the lead form into CCV.
Okay.
Because they don't use Planning Center. If they did use Planning Center, we'd be able to use um
Zapier.
Zapier. Yeah,
Right.
but they don't. So
Okay.
like right now, I'm running an ad utilizing the landing page, the lead form, and I
Hmm.
go right into Go High Level.
Okay. Gotcha.
Go High Level reads it. You can also go into it, not Excel, Google Sheets.
Right.
But
Hmm.
now you got to make sure that you do some automation from Google Sheets into your church management system. Unfortunately, Zapier does not go into CCB. So I'm just trying to figure out how do we go out of Google Sheets into CCB? That's just been our only technical challenge, you know,
Gotcha.
and they have a
Gotcha.
whole technical team.
Hmm.
So if it was just me, I'd be able to, you know,
Hmm.
go in there and figure it out. But I've got to work with the technical team.
With their
So
team.
it
Right.
takes a little longer to get things settled. Uh,
Right. Right.
so that would be my only thing, Pastor Jackie, is before you start testing any the lead ads, that you figure out the technical side. How are you going to go from lead ad into
Oh,
either text in church or your church management system?
well, I
Hmm.
use lead ads. That's what I have been using recently. Most of the
Okay.
time for Easter when we had over 200 and some 250 something people or whatever. It was all lead ads.
Nice.
Now
Okay.
I have not Zapier or whatever. I could not get it for some reason to connect with my Texan church at the time. So
Mm.
I just go in, I'll get a notification or something. I'll just go in, take the name and stuff and just put it in my Texan church so
Mhm.
that it goes through my follow-up system, which
Gotcha.
is more work. I wish it would automatically do it, but I haven't figured that out yet. So I just manually do it. But I was wondering, Pastor Jay, how much did you put on your budget for each campaign? Did you you know how
So
much?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, how much did it cost you? Did you put $5 a day on it
Yep.
or
So
something else?
for our and that's actually why I put all of those ads in like one ad set.
Uh-huh.
Because sometimes depending on what the budget is, you can actually create different ad sets and then put a budget on each of those ad sets. But if you have like, a limited budget, then you can put, all of those ads in that one ad set and just say, okay, this is the daily budget for the ad set, and Facebook will figure it out or what have you. And so like for instance here, this was for the interest meetings, I believe. And so we did landing page views, and I was doing $15 a day. Was doing $15 daily on that. We wound up spending in total $528.93.
Mm-hmm.
And you see I had the video still running. This one here did not convert well at all. And it was the highest cost per result. So we turned that one off. But we kept, the video of my wife and I, and then the family picture, what
Yeah.
have you. And again, you
Did
can see the family picture just like gangbusters. It just like crushed them.
Yeah.
but did you use because I'm a little confused. Did you
Uh-huh.
use the what is it called? Campaign budgeting optimization, whatever, which so you set $15 and then it distributed it between the different ads under the ad set, or
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
break
So
up
it,
15 and put it on like 250 on this, 250 on that. How did you do
yeah.
that?
So I did the 15. I just set it for the 15 per day for the
Yes.
ads, for the ad set.
So you used the campaign budgeting optimization?
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah. Well,
didn't.
no, on this one, I don't think I used the optimization. Let me go back and look at it real quick.
You did it in the ad set level.
Yeah, I did on the ad set level. So just
Okay.
on, so you can do it. So you can have Facebook do it with the CBO, right? But you can actually do it on the ad set level too, and say, okay, I want just $15 for this particular ad set. See right
So
here, where I just set my daily budget right here.
Oh, so you don't have to go in because
Yeah.
my question is, okay, if because I'm trying to figure it out myself. If I
Hmm.
put that budget in there $15, does that mean each ad is going to get $15 or the
Hmm.
overall campaign will
Just
get
the,
15?
just the overall campaign, just the ad set.
Oh,
Yeah,
now I
just
know
the
what I
ad
did
set.
wrong.
Now, if I was to duplicate this ad set, then that would be 15 per ad set per day. So that would be $30 per day overall if I was to duplicate the ad set, right? And so just remember that overall, the way that Facebook does it is you can do the CBO, right? The campaign budget optimization,
Mhm.
or you can set it your own self on your ad set level.
Okay,
And
so
so
not each ad is not getting $15. It's just the
correct,
overall, it's
yeah.
going to distribute it between the ads that you have, but it's only going to be
correct,
$15. Thank you for
correct.
that clarification.
So,
Yep,
Now I
so
know
correct.
what I
yeah.
did
Yeah.
wrong.
So let me just clarify that just in case there's anyone who might be watching this replay and you're not familiar with Facebook ads and how they work. So Facebook ads are actually broken up into three sections. The first section is what's called the campaign, and usually your campaign area is where you select your objectives. And really, objective is just another term for a big goal. So there
Right.
are different objectives depending on what you want to do with your ads. Then you have your ad sets. Ad sets is typically where you select your type of audience, the people you want to reach. And so within your ad sets, you can select if you want a specific age range or specific gender, or if you want to reach people based on zip codes and different locations or certain types of demographics. So, for example, it used to be easier to run an ad and say, hey, I want to reach everyone who has a demographic that's their title is pastor. Now, because of the AI aspect behind Facebook ads, it is a lot easier to just put some very general aspects. For example, in this
Right.
ad, the age has changed. And then he would have placed, where did you put, is this one of the ads that you put the zip code in?
Yes. So right
I
here
think
was
there it
it would be
is.
right here.
Yep.
Yep.
So you just select the zip code and you're able
Mhm.
to identify the distance between the zip code.
Right.
And so you did zip code, and I forget what they call it when you do the longitude, latitude.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think they did that because I that's the pinpoint.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
So you select the pinpoint
Yeah.
on the map,
Pins. Uh-huh.
and so your ad set specifically, what it does for you is it gives you, it allows you to communicate to Facebook, who am I trying to reach? Okay.
Mhm.
And then the ad itself are the details of it. And so with the ad, you get to put the copy or the text that you're going to write, the words you're going to use to try to get someone. You can utilize video. You can utilize text, images to be able to capture people's attention. And then there's the in the ad set, in the ad, you also select how you want people to respond. You can have it be a button that when they click the button, it takes to a landing page. It could be a button that goes to what's called a lead ad, which the advantage of a lead ad is that everything stays in Facebook. So someone's information is typically already pre-filled out. So think of a lead ad as a form where you ask for someone's name or email, and because they're still on Facebook, that person doesn't have to enter the information. The information is entered for them. You can also set up an ad that when they click it, they can send you a message utilizing Messenger. So you've got ads, you've got ad sets, and then you've got campaigns. And then when it comes to the budget, you can set your budget in a couple of different ways. If you want Facebook to determine how your money is used, you can set a budget on the campaign level. So when you set it on the campaign level, what happens is Facebook takes a look at your ad sets and then the ads within the ad sets and decides, I think that this ad is going to have the biggest impact. Let me spend $10 here and $5 on a different ad. If you want to have more control of where the budget goes, then you can go within an ad and I'm sorry, you can go within an ad set and set the budget yourself. And again, if you have multiple ads within an ad set, Facebook will still select which ad set is performing the best and send the appropriate amount towards it. So again, some of these choices is the choice between whether you want to have control or you want Facebook to do it for you. Typically, one of the suggestions that I've heard is that when you're first starting running ads, you want to give it a little bit more control so that you can decide, hey, each ad is going to get a certain amount of money. And then once you get some feedback, then you're able to take it and put the money on the campaign level and let Facebook determine how the money is used. And again, it's all about you testing and deciding, what's going to work best. So hopefully for those of you who are watching and may not be as familiar with Facebook ads, hopefully that is a helpful explanation. So before we open this up, I know we've had some questions and we'll continue to answer some questions. Pastor Jay, if there's someone watching and they wanted to get some support from you in regards to running ads, how can they reach out to you? How can they connect with you?
Sure, they can connect with me. Our website is freemanmultimedia.com, and also bluebirddigital.com or bluebirddm, excuse me, .com. But they can reach out by email at Jermaine, that's JAMAIN, at freemanmultimedia.com. And my number as well is 252-214-8422. But I'm on all the social media platforms at Jermaine Freeman. And so definitely reach out to me if you need any help with that. We have a digital marketing arm of our company that we launched for churches called Ministry First Marketing. And so we are actually in the process of planning an entire platform using actually GHL. We're building on top of GHL. It's going to be designed strictly for churches to help them, utilize Facebook ads, the whole nine. And so we definitely want to help churches grow, man. That's what it's all about.
Are you doing white labeling for GHL?
Yes, yeah, it's going to be a white label. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Awesome. So at this point, what we're going to do is just, if there's any questions regarding Facebook ads, anything to that, any aspect, ask away.
I've got another question. What did you use automatic placement? I know that's not called that anymore. What is it, advantage placement or something like that? Or did you use manual?
I use manual. I always use manual. It's just a habit because Facebook many times will, and I haven't tested the new advanced yet, but I just know in the past, you'll get trash clicks, like for instance, showing
The
your church
networks?
ad in the games and stuff like that. Yeah, and all of that stuff, and then the different networks and all that. It's just like really a waste of clicks. You know what I mean? And so The most effective we've seen is definitely in the main feeds and of course Instagram. The main feeds
Instagram
of
and
Instagram.
Facebook feed.
Yep. Hmm.
But do you do all of that, like the Explorer and all that, or is just Facebook feed,
Just yeah,
video feed, and Instagram?
that's it. Yep. I normally do the Facebook feed. I'll sometimes I'll do the marketplace network. So
Okay.
the marketplace, Facebook marketplace, I'll make sure it's there in the main Facebook feed, mobile feed, and then of course Instagram as well.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So that way you get more bang for your buck. You know what I mean? You don't have the wasted money or what have you in your budget.
And just in case you don't notice, if you're going to utilize the different placements, just make sure that you are conscious of the sizing, because different
Absolutely.
uh, social media platforms have different sizing. So Instagram stories, for example, have a different sizing than the Facebook post. So you want to make sure that you resize your graphics. If you have a challenge resizing your graphics, Canva has some templates that you can just utilize, resize so it fits appropriately.
Right.
And I've mentioned this to you before, and just in case you don't remember, you haven't done it yet, Canva does have a non-for-profit account that you can have. I think you can have up to 5 users that have a pro version. Pro version, I think, costs me something like $15 a month, $20 a month. So as
15.
a 15. So as a non-for-profit, you can have it for free. So if you're currently paying for Canva, go onto their site, fill out the application. You got to, do a search for Canva non-for-profit. There's an application, and then that way you can have access to it for free. And Canva's crushing now. At least
Oh man,
they
they are blown,
they
man.
leveled up big time. You know,
I mean, I was a Photoshop geek, but
me too.
I find myself in Canva all the time now, man. It's just so much easier to design in Canva now.
The speed by which you can resize stuff.
Right.
Man, I've started messing with some of their videos and doing animations in it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, I'm not crazy about their video editing. So I,
Right.
I edit
Yeah.
outside of Canva, bring it in, but the
Hmm.
animations, I'll do it inside of Canva.
Right.
Just,
Right.
it just
Yeah.
makes it so much more easier.
And they're stepping it up. They're stepping it up. I can't wait till they really I think my only hiccup right now is image gradients. And so being able to grade
Yes.
out my images and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And trying to hack that. That's the only thing. I still have to take those into if I want to do like a black to transparent or something like that, with the transparency.
Yep.
But other than that, man.
I was trying to do that with letters, and
Okay.
you can
Hmm.
only do it with certain fonts.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
they have built-in like fonts, like cookie cutter fonts. I was like,
Hmm.
"Man, I don't like that font." So
Right, right.
yeah. So there's some challenges, but you know,
Yeah, it's great though.
definitely.
Definitely.
Um, so any other questions regarding, just Facebook, or any other questions regarding um anything in general for Pastor Jay?
You said that you retargeted, so that was a whole different ad.
Yes. And so with the retargeting ad, that was basically an ad to let me go to it right quick. That was basically an ad to for the interest meeting. Now I didn't do retargeting for the actual invite because we were already targeting a lot of the people that we had already targeted during the interest meetings or what have you. But what I did was I did the video for the retargeting, and basically I said, let me see if it's playing.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Pastor Jay here. Listen, I noticed that you visited our website, you visited the launch page, but you did not register for our next launch meeting. Listen, I want you to be a part of something great that's happening here in the Greensboro area. We want to invite you again to come and experience the love and fellowship that we have. The testimonies have been coming in about how people have been looking for a ministry like this, and we're just so excited. We've been having amazing times at these launch parties. And so we want you to be a part of that. Listen, even if you just come for just fellowship and fun and just meeting new people, come and experience the love and the fellowship here at Numa Life Church. Learn more about the vision that God has given my wife and I for this area and to really add to the kingdom of God. If you want to be a part of something great, something impactful that can help change your life, that can help you discover your purpose and make a difference in this world, then I want you to click the link below, click that link and register for our next launch party that will be taking place real soon. Listen, I want to see you there. I want to get to meet you. I want to learn more about you and your goals. Will you be at the next launch party?
You see how I left it open-ended as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, the only problem with the ad, with this ad, just to give you some feedback, is that you have a Cowboys
I knew
jersey.
you was I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I said, I knew he's gonna say something about that Cowboy shirt.
So if I saw this ad, I would have definitely, I probably would have been one of those guys who would have had the bad comment.
On the wrong side.
I was like, ah, man, this
Yeah.
is not a good church for
Like,
me.
oh, he was cool till I saw that Cowboys.
That's how the cowboy, man. Jesus ain't no cowboy fan. He ain't a cowboy
Right.
fan for sure.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the ones too that I did multiple
The text, the
yeah, the
very
multiple text. And I think this is the
Oh,
one that I allowed Facebook. I tried the do creative text generation
yeah.
AI for Facebook that they
dynamic
have now.
creation. That one.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You like
And
that?
well, this I was testing it out, and it actually worked pretty good, especially for retargeting ad. But I haven't tested it on my main ads yet. I've just been using Magi and ChatGPT on some of that stuff.
Yeah,
I,
I
I,
found it
I
hasn't been so great for me.
Yeah,
huh?
okay. Yeah.
I found for me it hasn't been so great. I think
Okay,
some of the
gotcha.
copy, it just they're just not as familiar with the church world.
Sure. Right. Right.
And so some of the language, I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't say that, you
yeah.
know.
And I had that because I think in some of these I had to change some of the languages as well.
Yeah,
Um,
Well, I
yeah,
was
but
using
but
the
Magi,
what is it
huh?
called? In the creation, I think it's called. The button you put on, I was just testing out for, is it called dynamic creation, where it
Oh
will,
yeah, uh-huh.
I had it on there, and I mean I got some leads and stuff, but what it does is I don't see my copy. It's just taking the header and the description and putting it on.
Right. And put yeah.
I'm like, where's my copy? And so I'm going back in and changing all my ads because it's not telling people anything about me.
yeah.
Right. And that's what I love about Magi is that when you create that profile and you tell it everything about you, it pulls from that whole workspace, man. It pulls everything. I'm like,
Yep.
man,
That
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 was a huge resource you shared with us on that one, Pastor Ariel.
that
What is
thing.
it called? I missed that. What is it? Magic? Who?
Let me I'm gonna share. Let me pull
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
let me
Yeah, I missed
Where is
it.
my, here we go. So Magi it's an AI app that I've been using. Um, in fact, here it is. So where's
M A. How you spelling it?
magai.com?
MAG. You said MAGAI. Okay.
Yeah, .co, not .com. I always mix that up.
CO. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
So one of the things they have is this thing called personas. And so the challenge with AI is always how do I get AI to use my voice?
right,
So when it writes, it sounds like me. So what I did was what Magi allows you to do, and I think finally ChatGPT has added a feature similar to this, is it allows you to create personas. So you see, I can create different personas here. This persona is as if I'm writing, as if I was having a conversation with a small church pastor,
hmm
right? And I'll show you this one here. So what this persona looks like is I literally wrote some copy and then I said chat GP Magi or chat. So I'm sorry, just to be clear, chat GPT is an actual AI engine. There are multiple engines. Claude is another engine. Magi is a program that brings these engines together. So technically, Magi does not write copy for you. It utilizes ChatGPT. It utilizes Claude or any other AI engine available, and also does graphics for you. Honestly, I don't even use the graphics much because I don't do AI graphics like that. But I created a whole bunch of emails. I have written a whole bunch of emails. I brought all of these emails in and I said, hey, give me a description of my tone, of my writing style. And so it literally gives me the description of my tone. Whoops, always does this. You know, I told him I wanted to be 6th grade reading level. I want all of my writings to be simple and conversational. And so you go in here and you kind of give it a description. You can even copy some of your text, things that you've written right in here.
Right.
And so when you say, I want you to write like me, it takes all of these guides in mind, and it actually writes copy as if it was utilizing your voice.
Hmm.
By voice, I don't mean that it like your vocal cords. I mean like your writing style.
Right.
Mhm.
And how much is that per month?
$20 maybe?
Yeah, I think it's like 20, 29, something like that.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's
It's
yeah,
it's well worth it though.
yeah. Then it has prompts. Like I use prompts all the time just to save. So like there's stuff that you write over and over again, you can save the prompts.
Mhm.
You know, so like I'm working on what am I working on right now? It has folders, so you can separate it into different folders. So let's say you've got, maybe this is all about your launch. This is all about an interest meeting. There's something else you want to do for sermons. Like I use this a lot for, you know, sermons, or I use this, for example, you know, when I'm doing YouTube videos. So you can literally copy the YouTube video in. You can upload a PDF into this, and it will take a look at the content and give you feedback. So let me pull up
I'm actually even using it now for some of our Bible study stuff. So what we've been doing for our Bible studies is going back over the sermons that I preach on Sundays, and we've been studying those even in our Bible studies. So I'll actually copy my sermon that my main script that I created. I'll copy that, paste it in it, ask it to summarize it for me. You know, with all some of the main points and all that stuff, but then also give me some Bible study questions based off of the
Oh, nice.
core
yeah,
values and structures of the church.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And it's definitely it's right in my voice and all that. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
yeah. I'll show you now real quick. So this is, let me just pick my um and you don't even have to use your own persona. You can use,
Yeah,
you
because I
know,
know
a whole
sometimes
bunch of
I use the Bible
copyright.
Scholar.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, Bible Scholar.
And if I'm writing stuff for, oh, I did have mine. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a YouTube video that was a sermon that the senior pastor's wife preached this Sunday. And so I can say something like, you know, create a study guide for small groups utilizing this sermon. And this is just a YouTube link to the sermon that I pulled from. And I don't want to use too much of my usage, but what it'll do is it literally will give me a study guide. If I want to use this for social media, I'll say, hey, give me 5 to 10 quotes that I can put on social media. You know, and it'll just create it for me. And of course there it is. So what it does is it does the transcribing, and then now it's creating the study guide based on the stories. And she used about 4 or 5 different stories, application questions, you know,
Nice.
homework. So literally just created a study guide for me based on the sermon that was preached this Sunday. I mean,
Nice.
that's, if I say, hey, give me 5 quotes for my social media, quotes to post on Facebook, it'll run through that YouTube video, and these are literally the quotes from the sermon that they're pulling. Just as sheep produce valuable wool through continuous walking, our daily perseverance produces unseen blessings. Real transformation happens when we walk through our valleys with eyes fixed on the promise, not the pain. Like, these are just quotes from the sermon. And it can transcribe it for you. So you can use it for social media. You can use it for, create an email, summarizing sermon, right? There's just so much you can do with this to help it, to have it create content for you. So that way it's almost like a shortcut.
Nice. All right. Let's check into that. Yep.
So I use this for everything. Every email that you get from me, I've created from this. When I'm creating an offer, I run it through this. When I'm thinking about any things I'm planning, I run it through this. And again, I'm thinking of it from my voice, but also I can use it to do research. So when I'm prepping a sermon, hey, look this up for me. What are the stats on this? Or what does the verse say? What do believers say? How would you, so like I was prepping a sermon, and I forgot what the tension was, but there was some examples of a specific tension that I needed. And I was struggling. I think I was just exhausted. So I couldn't come up with the language myself. So how would people describe struggling with their faith? What words would they use? And it gave me that language, and it helped me to, just articulate certain things. So I use it as a sermon study tool, and again, I'm not saying you create your sermons in here, but what I am saying is when you're crafting your sermon, when you want to think about, how can I say this a certain way that's memorable? Literally, how can I say this in a memorable way? And then let it give me feedback. Hey, take my sermon, or can you summarize it in an action? What should be an action item that I need to include in my sermon? All of that stuff, you can just utilize it. Think of it as an assistant. So definitely I would take a look at this. And I gotta one day do the rewards thing, because I recommend it, but I still haven't done the rewards thing. Like, literally, if you have an account with them, you can get money back because other people, you'll get money off your next bill. But one day I will do this. But I love this. I use it so much. So definitely I recommend it. To look at it. It's one of those, it just helps me so much. All right, so we have been here for almost an hour and a half, almost 90 minutes. Pastor Jay, I want to just thank you so much for making yourself available for 90 minutes and answering all of our questions, and taking us behind the curtain.
Yes, sir, indeed.
And I mentioned this to Pastor Jay, and we'll figure out how to make this work, but I was hoping that we can do something where maybe once a month he can jump on and take a look at people's ads and give feedback, or and then use that as a look, if you need his services. I think you mentioned I'm not going to throw any prices. That's a conversation you have, because then I don't want to make promises and then you change your prices or anything. But it was pretty affordable.
It's reasonable, yeah, definitely.
Very reasonable. Very reasonable. But again, that's the thought process. And so that's it for now. So thank you again, Pastor Jay, so much for spending the last 90 minutes with us.
Absolutely, man. I thank you for the invite. Glad to be able to share.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. Well, again, thank you all for jumping on today's masterclass, and appreciate it. If you have any questions, obviously you can, just reach out to us, let us know. I can definitely put you in contact with Pastor Jay, and just appreciate, you just connecting with us. All right, blessings. Bye.